Okay, and we are live.
We...
So the first few minutes we'll probably just wait for a few people to show up and get in the lobby, and then we will get going.
Yeah, no worries. Well, what did you have in mind for playing today?
I mean, we're really open to anything. I don't know if you
Well,
have a favorite.
I suppose, yeah. What's your favorite of the campaigns?
Oh man. I mean, really, it's probably any of them, to be honest. I played them all so many times. It's hard to pick favorites. I like them for different reasons too. Like, uh, the Giants in the Earth with synths and stuff. That's always fun. That might be a controversial take for some folks. I actually kind of liked the cover shooting. Um, I
Once the difficulty was taken down a notch, that
yeah.
we had what a couple of weeks on early access,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fucking rock solid.
Yeah,
But
even on medium.
and then when the release version came out, I was like, okay, they've toned it down, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, having gone through a few iterations of that was fun.
Okay, you can invite me, Adam.
Okay. I see ya.
Welcome, Sarah. Welcome, Sizzy, and Zachary's joining us as well.
Remind me how to emote again. What was the hotkey for that?
It's 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. All right, I sent you an invite, Aaron.
I'm joining Nomads with us as well. Zachary's having an ice cold Aspen. I'm having an Asahi. The Japanese stuff. And Mike's with us as well. Mike's Monsters. Welcome, Mikey.
Oh, we're all here. Okay, so what did we decide? Giants in the Earth? Yeah, we can do that.
Do that, sure.
Hang on, let me change outfit.
I am going to, let's see here, change this so
Why are we Expedition? What did we play last time?
you got me, man. I only work here.
We were doing insane whatever the hardest one was, weren't we? On bloody mission that we can't get past.
I'm just gonna have to do the full screen there. 1 second.
Just go to your pause. Have you got your hotkeys set up?
Did that do it? Sorry, guys. 1 moment.
Worries, yeah.
What are you trying to do?
It doesn't seem to want to capture this window. Okay.
Professionals, like we were saying,
Yep.
Corey.
Exactly.
All good. I know how it goes.
Okay, window capture. Yeah, it's selected as
Sizzy's
far as
rushing,
I
yeah.
Screen capture?
Just do whole screen, like I said earlier.
That's what I just switched it to. Okay.
Got some cryo grids.
Oh, they're invaluable.
Is it still not showing the whole screen? That's super odd.
Do you have to? Have you got multi screens? Do you have to select your
Nope,
screen?
I just have one screen.
Adam Smith's joined us as well. Richard. Richard says, evening all, thinking about Alien games. It always seems strange that we never got an Alien game in the style of the classic Resident Evil or Dino
there
Crisis.
we go. Okay, I don't know why it was doing that before.
I would play the crap out of a survival horror Aliens title like that.
It had me sweating for a second.
We very nearly got that with the earlier iterations of Isolation.
Yeah.
And then when that was a third person.
But yes, welcome everyone to the stream. Thanks for your patience as I was getting some things figured out. Today we have joining us systems designer Corey LeFever. Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct.
Okay, well,
Hey,
welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for the invite.
joining
And
us.
thanks everybody for joining in on chat with us.
Xander's joined us as well. Our classic simp. Welcome, Xander.
Maybe we'll
KG
just... Sorry, go ahead.
Lazowski as well. Nah, sorry, I'm just welcoming chat. Oh. It's always me. It's always me. Waiting for that last ready. Caleb's joining us as well.
Oh, welcome,
Adam
Caleb.
Smith also brings up the old version of Alien Resurrection for the PS1 that was also third person at one point.
I don't think I actually played that title.
It's very difficult, like way too
Very
difficult.
hard.
But
Notoriously difficult.
it was kind of ahead of its time because when I came out on PlayStation, it got some bad reviews. Like, you use the left stick for walking and the right stick for where you're looking. This is so weird. Like, it did that before Halo kind of popularized it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was one of the very early games to use that setup. So, Corey, I guess the first obvious question, what does a systems designer do?
Yeah, so it's going to obviously vary like team to team or studio to studio, but in my case, that meant a lot of spreadsheeting, everything kind of like, you know, keeping track of like game stats and like all the enemies and weapons and all that stuff. Like all this exists in lots and lots of spreadsheets that we maintained like from like pitch to completion, and kind of like an intermediary between like engineering and like the other design teams, I think, is a good way to think of it. Like helping with some of the foundational, maybe like less in your face stuff and like rewards and that sorts of things too. So it all just depends on the team.
A lot of everything.
Yep.
And were you with Cold Iron like from the beginning, from the founding of the studio?
I joined in like late 2019, like December 2019. So they'd already been working on it, I think, for about maybe a year and a half and some change at that point, maybe a little longer.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a wild time having like joined for, you know, a couple months right before COVID hit, and then it was back to remote work.
That's right, because you guys actually did have a studio, I remember.
Yeah, yeah, we had a pretty nice space in like downtown San Jose, which was, I didn't really love San Jose as a city, just speaking personally, but it was great being in office with everybody.
Did you guys go back to the office eventually?
I don't think they ever went back to the office. I think everybody's still mostly remote.
Yeah, I think that's what
did.
Matt Hyson was saying, that they're still a remote-only studio.
Yeah. Yep. It was really, really wild. We thought we were just going to be like, you know, maybe 3-4 weeks, I think. And everything would blow over and we'd be back in person. And of course, that's not how things turned out. But they did a really great job, like scrambling to support us, you know, because we didn't have a remote or like work from home policy prior to COVID either. And they did a really great job getting everything set up in a timely manner. I think we might have only like impacted us by a couple weeks from our, you know, development cadence. So good.
Was it a weird change?
Yeah, I mean, it was. We definitely had that like a good culture in office, like kind of doing play tests together routinely and kind of just cruising by each other's desks and checking out like what we were working on. So we, you know, tried to foster that as best we could remotely, but it's just kind of not the same.
Yeah. I never liked it when I worked from home.
Yeah, it kind of grew on me. Like I said, they did a good job supporting us and everything, and given the state of things, it was the best outcome, I guess.
Yeah, well,
Considering.
necessity to get things done. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lucy's joined us, so is Chevy. Welcome, guys.
So, a game you worked on, just playing it when it's done,
Uh-huh.
are you like, oh, I'm just so sick of playing this at this point? Or do you still like, oh, this is fun, this is cool that I worked on this?
Yeah, no, I still find the game fun, and I really enjoy it. I don't play as much as I used to, but we were also playing, like, multiple accounts, many hours a day. So it's always good to come back to it. Anytime, like, a friend is like, hey, I picked this up, like, you want to play together? Like, it's an easy yes, yeah.
So, you mentioned earlier about, spreadsheets of stats and stuff. Did that mean you ended up having to do a lot of, especially with a game like this, that is so focused on lots of units and the multiplayer aspect of it? Was there a lot of fine-tuning of, all those statistics, all those stats for the enemy units and stuff like that?
Yeah, and one of the things that we did was we had, like, routine multiple, like, difficulty playtests through the week too, so I got to either participate or observe in those and kind of get feedback and determine, like, hey, we need to, adjust maybe the health on this one or the damage on that one, or, like, hey, this perk needs some love. There was a lot of playtesting and fine-tuning, and
that's something that continued even after launch as well.
Yeah. Some of the things that we learned, like, as it, like, directly related to my work, was that some of the, like, attachment and weapons stats, they went through different points. Like, we kind of, what's a good example? Like, handling and some of the, like, I would say, like, softer, not just damage goes up numbers. We had to tune a lot of those because we initially, like, overcosted those internally. Like, we think that this much of this stat would be valuable in this case, and it turns out, like, we could probably double that in some cases.
Yeah.
I think where that gets kind of, like, less obvious in hindsight was, some guns might have, like, a really fast weapon swap period, right? Like, you can almost blink and miss it swapping some weapons. So, like, handling stat, like the time to equip, being part of that isn't as valuable in a lot of cases. So you have to, like, kind of juice those numbers up to even really kind of feel it. And that's maybe, like, some of the places where I would say, most missed.
On launch.
Yeah, on launch.
Yeah. I suppose there's always no accounting for the wider, wider player base as well, isn't it? Because it's a different environment.
Yeah, you think, like, we have our own biases internally, and we recognize that too. Like, I think that's part of being a good designer is, like, I have a tendency to want to play this way, and we know that, as soon as you put it in the hands of tens, hundreds, millions of people's hands, like,
yeah,
it's all different. So it's great. Like, everybody plays differently.
Okay, we have a first question from chat.
Yeah.
Lucy, if not intrusive, why 3 players? Why not 4 or 5 or whatever?
Yeah, I wasn't really privy to the reasoning on that. I guess, having come from, like, a Destiny background myself, like, playing a lot of that, 3 just kind of made sense to me. So I guess I didn't really question it as both a player and a designer. Yeah, I guess TLDR, though, that's above my pay grade. Sorry.
Fair. Casper's joined us as well. Howdy. Xander says, when's Aaron and Adam's character DLC coming out? Mine came out, it was the ape suit.
And hey, my character looks close enough to me that I'm happy, so.
Yeah, Ape Suit was a popular request internally as well. We were really all too happy to put that one in.
honestly, one of the things I love about the game is just the amount of different costumes and outfits and weaponry and you know, all the gubbins that we actually got in this. You know, the ape suit is one of my, as impractical as fuck as it probably is as a
Sure.
you know, a dog catcher design. It's a cool looking design.
Yeah, it really looks neat. Very iconic. As someone who worked pretty closely with helping determine like what sort of things we saw in terms of cosmetics and like seasonal rewards and stuff, I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it, because yeah, that was
It adds to the immersion in a lot of ways. Like when we came in and I was in the expedition suit, that was because we were messing around on one of the missions and was like, let's go theme,
yeah,
like
nice.
let's Prometheus up.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the things I thought this game did really well, was just the level of customization, both with your weapons and with your look.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, I think it would have been neat if we could have had like even more detail, like being able to like paint your own armor, kind of put it together, sort of like you know, true colonial marine style, I'd say in quotes. But
Well, it certainly
you know,
did a better job of it than Colonial Marines did. There's no denying that.
yeah, it's just, you know, time and budget and all those things, right? Like, where are you gonna spend your time and money?
That's a different age as well. You know, there are expectations of this kind of customization nowadays.
Absolutely. It's good to feel like emotionally invested in like what you're doing too, and if you can do that by expressing yourself, why not?
I know there was a bit of like confusion early on. I remember some articles. Some referred to this as a live service game, and I thought I recalled seeing someone from Cold Iron saying we're not a live service game, but we are keeping this as like an ongoing thing. Like what do you consider the game to have been, and like what distinguishes a live service from like just a game with updates?
Boy, yeah, that's a meaty one, huh? No, I think it's kind of I don't know how I would describe this. Like maybe like live service light. Like we obviously had seasonal, like regular updates and things. I think to call it a true live service game was I don't know, maybe not entirely accurate.
I mean, you know, I know.
Yeah, sorry. It's just, you know, like potato. Some
Yeah.
people have different ways that they determine that. And like we were launching this game at a time when everything was like everybody's high on like live service stuff, right? I don't know. I think it was kind of more like we had a plan out the gate that we were going to release like X number of seasons, kind of see how things go and like where the wind blows, kind of thing. But yeah, the plan from like launch was, you know, we've got 4 major updates, and I guess we'll just see from there.
I know it's hard with fans because we're always ravenous for more, but I thought there was a lot of good post-launch content for this game, especially just that full Pathogen campaign, like having that full Queen fight I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was really great to be able to provide that for players. Like I know people had mixed feelings, I think, about, I don't think that's controversial to say, having to run away from the Queen. On the one hand, that really sells the fantasy of like, this is a really badass bug, and you're pretty cool soldiers, and you know, you've been through a lot, but maybe some things you just can't face head on.
It's something the other games had done a bit too, because like in the first AVP you have to blow her out of the airlock, and then in AVP 2 you just kind of fought her as a boss fight. In AVP 2010 she was still on her egg sac and she was immobilized, and with Colonial Marines you had to launch her out of the ship again, and yeah, some fans expressed like, oh, we just want to have like a boss fight, but I also get the other side of it where it's like, yeah, you want to express this thing is too powerful to just take on. But in this game we get pretty powerful as Marines, so.
True. But yeah, having the Pathogen Queen fight was really awesome, and also being able to kind of play around a little bit more with mechanics. Like, you know, we had prototyped a Queen fight. I don't know if that's maybe giving away too much of the how the sausage was made, but we tried it, and it's just, you know, we're making a grounded sci-fi like game experience. So they're kind of limited in terms of the things you could think about in terms of like what is a game mechanic that also flavorably fits within these guideposts for, you know, our design pillars. And Pathogen kind of throws a lot of that out the window. There's a lot more space to play with. Like, of course, it's got a ranged attack, and it's got, you know, all these other weird things going on. Mutated
magical
armor
black
pieces that
goo.
can blow off. Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, one of the things I actually really loved about Prometheus and Covenant was opening up that space to, I guess, a little bit more fantasy in the experience. So definitely happy to play in that space as a designer.
Yeah, I always thought that'd be a very liberating thing for creatives.
Mm-hmm.
I always like this part of the mission where you go outside
Yeah.
for the first time and see this like epic
Like,
vista here.
whoa.
Across the canyon. What the hell is that?
I always loved how each of the campaigns had its own visual identity as well,
Mm-hmm.
and musical identity, to be fair.
Yeah, the audio's perfect.
Yeah, Austin
Really-
Wintory did a great job.
I love me them flutes.
Mm-hmm.
Sissy Bubble says, I always like running from overpowered enemies. It's very survival horror.
Yeah. Well, you know,
And
as
that is the entirety of Isolation as well.
as a crufty old MMO player, you know, I definitely remember the experiences of like going into a new zone and being like, oh, there's something that's like 30 levels over me here that could just walk in front of me at a moment's notice of not paying attention and kill me. I better run, and then be able to come back later and kind of kick its butt. That always feels good. So getting to, again, like come back to fight actually being able to fight the Pathogen Queen, that felt pretty amazing.
Now we need to get you across that canyon.
It did feel like a bit of a response to people's, you know, comments as well. You know, things like the inclusion of the cutscenes in that campaign compared to the main game.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Get that bridge extended.
But yeah, no, for real. We definitely kept an ear to the ground and tried to, you know, respond to what feedback we could and with the budget we had. So
Yeah. It's always the crux, isn't it? That damn
Yeah.
budget.
yeah,
Yeah. I figured I'd just start us off on standard for the first round. We can bump it up, and that's another thing I think this game does in a really interesting way is how it handles friendly fire. So there's always that dividing line between standard difficulty and anything higher than that, right? That kind of changes the gameplay pretty significantly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, intense is kind of where I tend to stay. I was involved with like playtesting some of the extreme difficulty, and I've definitely dipped my toes into insane, but I'm pretty rusty, so I'm not. if we're gonna do that today, put me in your backpack and I'll do my best.
Yeah, Aaron and our friend Chevy and I have been trying to get through our insane playthrough. And we've gotten to the end of the one campaign, this campaign, I think. Or no, the next campaign. Right, Aaron?
We can't make it past the second mission of the third campaign.
That's right. When you're in the ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, is that the last mission?
Yeah, that's the last mission.
Last mission, yeah.
We always get to the end bit, and then just with all the stalkers, the Leons.
Yeah,
Fireteam, secure an LZ so
they're
we
pretty
can pick
rough.
you up later.
I did like how...
I like
sorry.
to stick on intense, to be fair, because then it adds a
I don't think the company
level
knows
of
this.
carefulness you need to take without, you know, getting too insane.
sweaty.
Yeah. Xander says, if you could personally add to the game one feature, what would it be? After the fact, I guess.
Yeah, if I could have added one more feature, I guess it probably would have been just a little bit more customization, in terms of being able to like custom select like what goes where on your armor, but feature, or maybe like a maybe another game mode where it was like a randomly mutated thing. It's kind of, I don't know, pretty standard I think in some games these days, where it's like we're gonna go in on like a just boss hunt on a map. I think that would be fun too.
You do have a little bit of that with some of the cards as well, I suppose, with things like being able to throw the drones in on a mission,
Yeah.
or turn some units into what was it? It was like you could turn all the runners into a slightly weaker version of the prowlers, something like that.
Yeah,
I can't
or
remember all the
bursters.
cards.
Man, yeah, the cards were fun too. That was a lot of fun to test and see in game in the final forms.
Was that something that was always a part of the the design for the game, or was that something that came later?
I want to. I'm trying to remember now. Sorry, it's been a couple years I think since we initially pitched them. I think it came a little later. I think once we really kind of identified that we were going to be doing this style of, gameplay, we like settled on, all right, let's add some spice to it, and I think that was where that kind of came from. I wasn't involved in those like early discussions about that. I did get to help like fix issues with some of the cards and pitch ideas for them, but yeah, it was just kind of I was heads down on other stuff, and it's like we're doing challenge cards.
It's one of the most fun things about this game is just the crazy challenge cards, and they do really help with the higher difficulties too, is finding the one that'll just give you the right boost. So I really like the variety in terms of their effects and all that.
I like the really chaotic ones, like the what is it? I think we've got them pissed off or whatever. The spawning random elites every like 50 kills. Because sometimes you get the enemy group you're fighting, and that's terrible because then you've got extra stuff fighting you. But then other times you get like an opposing faction, and suddenly you've got a synth fighting, Pathogen with you. Like that's great.
It's where Alien games shine, I think, is that that narrow knife edge of under control and not under control.
Just the right level of tension.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can bump up to intense.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'm not sure this one had fall under your remit here, but Christopherson was asking about the variety of enemy units. So things like how that balance of creating new things for the game, how many you go overall, how many you reference from the past. So like Crusher's in this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the Crusher is one thing that seems to have just persisted from its creation in Colonial Marines, but then there's things like the units from older games like Extinction, like the Ravager or the Carrier, that don't seem to have carried over. So how do you balance that? How do you decide where you're going with a new property? Well, a new game, sorry, should I say, not new property.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about the licensing end of things, but I'm assuming, like, I know from some conversations that that's a part of it, right? Like, it's also just kind of up to the designers too, right? Like, we were pretty notoriously hard on ourselves internally in terms of like what we wanted to put in the game, like what was considered canon or not. See, I think that's yeah, exactly. And that always gets changed the next time more money gets involved. I don't know. In terms of like what we determined what was going in, though, we thought mostly, I think, from like a gameplay experience first, like
Curious.
what is going to serve in the semi-grounded, again, like sci-fi space, and what kind of makes sense. Like, what can we do with that and not really completely break things? I don't know. We didn't. I don't. To my knowledge, I don't think we like looked at like other games have these enemies. These are must includes or not includes. I don't know how heavily that was factored in the math on that.
Do you have a favorite unit?
Favorite
Enemy,
unit?
sorry.
Oh, it might actually be the Crusher. I love how like dumb and armored they are. They just get up and they like, you're hanging back and hiding out? Nah, we're gonna get in your face and we're gonna get rude about it.
Yeah, it was cool to see them come back because I think they were just in Colonial Marines before, right, Aaron?
They made it into the tabletop game as
Oh,
well,
that's right. Yeah.
which I fairly sure predates Fireteam.
And then,
Yeah, it might be safe to say, again, I wasn't involved in like the early discussions about like what enemies were in and what weren't. I think a large part of that was solved or near solved when I joined the team, but I'm pretty sure, like, it wouldn't surprise me to learn that like there was some cross-pollination there with the tabletop RPG as well.
and
Oh yeah, and of course it's in the RPG as well.
Yeah.
And Xander asks, what is your favorite weapon in the game?
Ooh, I'm a like sweaty hand cannon player from Destiny days. I kind of like the Frontier revolver.
Oh, I love that one too. Did you guys, was that Alien Isolation inspired? Because it kind of seemed like it.
I want to say yes. Again, that was conversations happening around me when that was being decided, but.
And going back to the the Media Live service question that I said,
Yeah.
Sizzy said regular live service and not predatory live service. I get it. And yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's fair.
It did feel like this game was very fair with its DLC, and I think with games now like Helldivers 2 is gotten huge, and that's one of the things players have been really praising about it, is just how fair its extra content seems.
Yeah, a lot of our team was comprised of folks that had worked on free-to-play titles in the past, and like they were very like upfront. Like leadership was like, we are going to make as fair of a like, let's give people value for the money, and I think we did a pretty good job on that front.
Yeah, because it wasn't like a $60-70 game, was it?
And then asking for $20 battle passes, and I can't with like full price titles and asking for microtransactions on top of it anymore, but that's
Yeah, they get a bit bloated when it's like you have a battle pass and you have a season pass and you have like microtransactions on top of that. It can be a bit much. So
Yeah.
I honestly like games like this where it just feels like a lot of care is put into new updates.
yeah, get your stuff that resonates with you. If it doesn't, I guess I'm sorry, and we will. The thought was like we'll try and set like some standards for like what you can expect when you buy like a season pass from us, and maybe not every one of them is for you, but maybe one of the
It was great
four.
that it was all cosmetics as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we weren't gonna like lock features behind additional prices and stuff. Of course, the campaign being a full campaign, that's something that we charged for, but
That was barely anything from what I remember.
It was like
cost-wise
10
either.
or 12 bucks or something total.
Yeah.
I thought it was worth it for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, Pathogen was a lot of fun.
And I remember seeing that go from like gray box to like like just the early level layouts to finish. That was something. The interior like hive settings and stuff, just so disgusting in the best ways.
Oh, the sound effects of walking through the hive.
Yeah, the squish. Oops, sorry. little friendly fire there.
I mean, it's hard to avoid when the alien is literally holding me and shaking me.
True, but I know better. I gotta go push V for violence and melee it. I was gonna say, back to favorite enemies too. I have a soft spot for the drone as well. I just love how he comes out of nowhere if you're not paying attention and tackles you and absolutely ruins your day.
Yeah. I do like how you made him all like sneaky, like, and that was a thing that we saw before. Like the alien that looked more like it was from the first movie had that kind of stalker design in Cloning Marines, but it was really done well here, and I really like the new model also. Like it felt kind of in a similar vein as Isolation, but also very much its own thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love. Sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
I was gonna say one of the things that I took me a little bit by surprise, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Was actually to see the warriors treated differently in this one, and then being a bit more of a threatening, tankier unit, whereas they were always like the fodder.
Yeah.
In a lot of previous games, whereas this one you went with the runners, as being more of the fodder units. I was like, that's actually a nice change. I like that.
Yeah, I also like the just difference in profiles, like having to, as a designer and a player being kind of like looking up, looking down, down across the height scale and how they move, and I don't know, just open up a lot more, I think, space for challenge and fun, personally. But
Chevy says, wait, melee stops the grab?
well, not stops it, but it's safe.
Oh, okay. He was about to be like, how have we missed that on our insane playthroughs?
No, I guess if it can be considered safer to put yourself right next to the thing that's grabbed your friend and might turn on you the minute they drop them, but we're on those lower difficulties, so.
Where is he? Is that?
Have that drone.
Yeah, down, boy. Oh, and just for chat's information as well, so Bori isn't isn't at.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Alphonic then. Cold Iron currently, and so Corey's not working on the sequel.
Nope. Or whatever it is that Cold Iron's up to these days.
Which we firmly believe is a sequel.
Maybe.
Or another Alien game.
It certainly seemed to be hinting that from the press release, but we will see.
There's always room for more Aliens stories, right?
Speaking of, have you played Dark Descent at all?
I have
I'd be
not
curious to
yet.
get your opinion.
That's been on my to-do list. Just life has been pretty crazy for me the last, I don't know, 6 months especially, but yeah, I just haven't had time to sit down with that one yet. Baldur's Gate kind of ate up my gaming time that I had, and I also recently got into fly fishing for the first time.
Oh, interesting.
So I've been getting away from the computer a bit more these days than I had been in the past. So it is on my to-do list though. It's in my top 5. That and Helldivers. I'm waiting for some of the server issues to be
They've done
sorted
a few patches, and I think you can pretty easily get in now. It
Okay.
sounded like they were not getting much sleep the past week based on some of the CEO's tweets, but yeah, it's just crazy the level of success that game's seen.
You love to see it,
because it's like a double A studio, kind of like you guys were, right?
Yeah, triple A aspiring, but without maybe some of the baggage that entails. And game dev's a tricky thing. I feel for them. You just never know when it's going to be a hit like that, I suppose. And
yeah,
Especially considering the similarities to, it having a licensed game at the time.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully they're getting some much needed rest once they get everything settled and before they jump into the next update.
So speaking of a licensed game, there was a question earlier that rolled around that was asking about how heavily involved Fox ended up being with the game. What was the experience as a Fox licensee?
I'm not entirely sure. Like, I can't really speak to that because I wasn't involved in any of those meetings or really kind of privy to that. That's just kind of a thing that, you know, leadership and those that needed to be involved with that were involved with. Sorry if that sounds like a cop-out. I just genuinely don't know.
No, that's fair.
I think...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, just to follow up on that, though, like to my comment earlier, we were pretty hard on ourselves internally in terms of, like, what we wanted to, you know, out of the IP. So I don't, like, have any stories of hearing about, like, it being fictitious or any, like, there being any, like, tension there. Like, I think it was a pretty good relationship that we had, and I think we probably, if anything, we're harder on ourselves than licensing was, but that's just my fly on the wall read on things.
And yeah, by the way, I didn't mean anything
yeah.
derogatory with AA or anything. Like, I mean,
No, I didn't take it that way at all.
You look at games like, I mean, that's kind of what Focus specializes in, right? And you look at games like a Plague Tale, like that would kind of be considered AA in terms of budget, in terms of scale, but it's still like nominated for Game of the Year. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't think like indie or AA or any of that's a dirty word and any of that. It just, you know, we see all these stories though about, like, I don't know, leadership failures at some of these big studios, and you know, you don't have to dig very far for some of the pitfalls of some of that. And it's not to say that AAA is all bad either.
Yeah, yeah, same goes for that.
You can have an excellent or terrible experience as a developer in either space.
Oh, I'm sure.
From me, not Crusher.
And Calum says, needs more Predators this time. I know as us, like, fans, we are very much hoping for another AVP game because it has been a long time at this point.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. I guess we got to see where they're... Like, I guess that's a place where licensing's got to kind of come in and say, like, this is on or off limits.
Seems to be a dirty word at Disney from what we understand.
13 Gallows Lane says, I'm sad I missed the AVP2 stream. Well, it wasn't actually a stream, it was a community event. So that one was just where our community members hopped on and played some rounds with us. We didn't really live stream that this time.
We talked a little bit about, like, what things people have loved or kind of curious about, like, licensing and stuff. What are some things that maybe get some hot takes, like what are things that you guys would have liked to have seen improved? If you could, like, wave a wand and have done, like, one thing differently for Fireteam, what would it have been?
Do you want to take this one first, Aaron, or should I?
I have a problem with how the Neomorphs were depicted in the campaign in Pathogen.
Okay, so you got the lore nitpicks.
I have the lore nitpicks, yeah. So I don't like this game's interpretation of them was as mutated aliens.
Because Lucy brought that up earlier.
Lucy brought that up earlier, yeah. It doesn't gel with my read, or the wider lore's read, with how the pathogen interacts with the aliens. So that's my nitpick.
Yeah, but the pathogen is totally inconsistent. Like, we see it mutate
Yeah,
them in
I
fire
know.
and stone. So I defend
but
that a bit.
It doesn't mutate them, it just melds a dude together with an alien.
That's mutating the alien too.
No, because we've seen
And
the
we saw the
Neomorphs
queen
spawn
all disfigured. Okay,
but
now we're just going to get in an argument.
we sit at opposite ends of the prequel. sort of appreciation. Well, no, that's a lie. I sit somewhere towards the middle. I'm friggin'
Well, I will say this game, how this game handled prequel elements, I loved. That goes for like Austin Wintory's music. That goes for the design of like the stone temples like this, and also the interior, like engineer facility type environments looked the most interesting they've had in like a prequel context. I thought.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Level design wise, you know, there's a perfect melding of Prometheus's more rocky, more metal look with some of the, you know, more organic shapes of Giga. You know, it's something I've said ever since
Ooh, I need to hear.
I first played those campaigns in this. It was just a genuine appreciation for the aesthetics going on in those missions.
Yeah, our art team definitely knocked it out of the park in that regard. As far as the neomorphs go, that would be an excellent question for our narrative designer, Chris Litzwall. He did. Man, that guy was an encyclopedia on stuff. You know, working with him, like I really missed working with him. He was.
Oh, I'm down.
You would like. Hey, I got this idea for this thing, and he could find something on it, like either for or against it, and you know have like a whole like novel in 30 minutes of like these are the ins and outs of the thing. A little hyperbole, but he was just like a walking, I guess encyclopedia. Yeah. Sorry, trying to blow xenomorphs in my face. I'm sure he probably had a good reason for that. I wish I could speak better to that.
Nah, that's fair.
Anything else comes to mind, Aaron, on that topic?
As it stands, that's always the one thing I'm just like grr about.
Yeah.
What about you, Adam? I feel like you've got some mechanical speaking things here.
So for me, I think the main thing was, and this was something that a lot of fans clamored for with Ilphonic's Predator Hunting Grounds as well. Just more content, and I don't like to like have that attitude too, because I know like game development is a lot of work, but I do feel like I would have liked to have seen more of a continuation of the story at the end post Pathogen. Like I had always wanted to see Palace Station because I'd read about that in the prequel book. So to me, like seeing that in the game would have been like really cool. As well as I felt like the end of the campaign alluded to some things like a corporate war that was going to happen. Like you heard one of the Marines on the ship talk about the corporation ships would be arriving. So I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if we had 2 more campaigns, like a ship-to-ship battle one and a Palace Station one. But I know like plans change, and sometimes a game doesn't continue on as long as maybe a studio or the fans would like, and they move to a new project. But so for me, it was just I would like more of this. This is great. I just want more. As far as I remember, Saber Interactive did World War Z, I think.
Yeah.
And they re-released like a Game of the Year edition that had some extra features. So I thought it was cool how they made that a third-person shooter that you could just switch to first-person. So that was something I had wanted for this game, was like, how cool would it be if I could just switch to first-person? And I would have liked a photo mode, too. I had to hack the game a little bit to do some in-game photography with some of the third-party stuff that some people put out now. So that was really it for me. But honestly, as just an Alien fan, it was such a great experience overall. Like, I really love this game. I played it a ton with friends and my girlfriend. Like, she and I have had a great time playing this game, so.
Nice. Yeah, I'm immensely proud of the work that we did, and I think in a perfect world, you know, we would have had more content. It's also really expensive, you know, to make this content. Like, you know, there. Just even at the baseline, but then you got to factor in like, you know, everything's got to go to localization and all that stuff on top of it too. And reality, you know, being that we were only a team so big, like to be able to do it and knock it out of the park, like to you know, not just like asset flip everything would have probably just been a lot, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been my one wish too. I think both as a fan and as a designer is that, you know, more content, but that's a good place to have it too, right? Like
People want more.
people want more of the
Yeah,
thing you're
yeah.
doing. Like that's also the sign of a good game, I think. So
I guess one last thing would be, I would have liked more of the marine ship to be explorable. Like
Yeah.
maybe
And-
have a shooting
and,
range
yeah,
in there. Or...
I wish more had been done with ship Olivia. You know, the is she a colonel in this? I can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I would. That was something I was a little disappointed with. But then again, how much of that was due to the comic being cancelled and we didn't get to flesh her out more after her intro in the book. Oh, we got a warrior. We got 2 warriors.
Uh-oh.
This guy out.
One's
One
down.
down.
This Zadok's probably also one of my favorite weapons.
Oh, the plasma rifle?
Yeah, plasma
Yeah,
shotgun.
That was... Both of those were great. The plasma assault rifle and the plasma shotgun. I love the... they felt kind of Terminator-y, the purple lasers, you know? But, yeah, they're really cool. That's another thing I liked about this game is how it handled, like, non-traditional alien weapons, because we've just seen a lot of projectile weapons, but plasma weapons and laser weapons and stuff, like, they've been in the movies, we just have not seen much of them.
Yeah, they existed in that universe, but for whatever reason.
The EVA pistol making it into the game was a proper nerd out moment as well.
Yeah.
I didn't get on with it, mechanically speaking, but I was like, oh, I love that they've added this.
I do like it on the occasion that I bust out like my like phalanx. I like having that because it's pretty accurate. I feel like at long range, having that option.
Yeah. It was just a little bit too slow.
Yeah, easy to hide behind that big beefy shield and let your damage stacks build up and then pop heads with the laser, but it's pretty niche.
I think this next mission is a lot
One
of
with the synths
synths.
at the end, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
maybe I should change my weaponry here.
Yeah, I think I might change and take some electro bullets.
Yeah, they got some electro turrets as well. I guess I haven't really been using my consumables. That's a bad habit that I fell into. Again, like old MMO brain, like I've got to hoard everything.
That's damage. That's from that. Oh, that's very up from that. Okay.
Just gonna top off my coffee real quick while we're between things here, like
Yep.
10
Yeah,
seconds.
no worries.
Okay, be right back.
Aaron, what would be a good heavy weapon for the synths?
I always have a soft spot for the heavy pulse rifle, but
Okay, I'll give
is
that a
it
try.
is it the heavy?
Yeah, yeah. It's like the smart gun mounted pulse rifle.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I'm back.
I think
That
I might
was
go
quick.
with the creamer.
Okay, Electro Sentry.
It may or may not be intentional that my coffee pot is within like 50 feet of my desk. So.
Yeah, those are cool. I've gone for the creamer. That was another deep cut as well that we had a little nerd out about when that one showed up.
Yeah, I love that one. That's got that good deca, you know, like the good cadence on the weapon.
That was another thing I loved about this game was just the sheer amount of weaponry, and each one has like a lore entry. I was like, I just got lost in that for a bit. Okay, let's see.
And get her people home safe.
Maybe Maybe we'll have some synth backup, so we'll have good synths fighting the bad synths.
The bad synths.
Xander says, "Is that why the fishing emote exists in Fireteam?" Just kidding.
You,
You're
I,
fly fishing.
yeah, I mean, I'd always been interested in like fishing is one of the things that my dad and I did when I was like from a very early age. And then I just made the, I live in the Pacific Northwest now, and a lot of the waters where I'm at have very selective gear rules in terms of like, you can only use this type of hook or that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna bite the bullet and like get into like entry level fly fishing, just to not have to worry about like, am I gonna get $1,000 ticket for illegal recreation by fishing the wrong gear? But at that point that we were doing the emotes for this, might have had something to do with it. and the bucket hat. I don't wear my bucket hat anymore, but I still have one. Just in case I decide I want to relive my late 90s days again.
So were you at Cold Iron during all the changeovers? The ownership?
Yeah, so that was wild. I got hired when it was still, I think technically, they were in the process of doing the transition from Fox to Disney at that point. And then from there, yeah, we changed hands a couple more times. It was so wild, especially, as pandemic was kicking off, and then into pandemic, like, not my first rodeo. I honestly kind of thought that there might be a point where, like, is this game getting made? Are we gonna have jobs? And to leadership's credit, like, they held it all together, and if there was any of those kinds of conversations, I certainly didn't hear about them, but just from places where the industry has hurt me in the past, I was like, oh well, it was nice while it lasted, I guess. And we got through it though, and I don't know, there's so many times that like that happened, and then the pandemic, like, and we still shipped, I think, a pretty solid game for what it, like, what it was. If we'd had, of course, bigger budget, bigger team, and all that, there were a lot of things we could have done differently. But I'm just so proud of it, given everything that happened.
From your perspective, did it really change much about what you were doing creatively?
Not really, no. Again, in spreadsheet land, and we've got to make, X number of attachments, X number of weapons, X number of enemies, and challenge cards, just kind of heads down and doing the day-to-day work. Yeah. And leadership really gave us like room to breathe and kind of trusted us to just sort of do the thing. Yeah, it was such a great experience.
Okay. Joe says it's a beautiful game.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being really impressed, especially just playing it on PC was my main platform with it, and just looking at some of the models up close, like when I would do my photo mode hack with it, they were just super impressive. And I'm sure it's difficult with it being a cross-gen game, because you guys had to release this for last gen and the new gen.
Yeah, I would say that was probably some of like the biggest like points of like friction. I don't know why I just did that now. Auto thing. I see the cooldown and push the button. I just totally lost my train of thought. Sorry.
About cross-gen?
Cross-gen, yeah. That was probably one of the trickier points where we kind of had some longer nights, I would say, was trying to sort out some of the issues with the older gen consoles.
The hell's that?
Just a lot of like memory issues and stuff with some of the devices. Oh, those are our dudes. I'm all laying at them.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, why aren't we?
That's
causing any
right. So,
damage to them?
sometimes it's the working Joes, and sometimes it's the soldiers, I think.
They got wrong way.
I mean,
Wrong way,
yeah.
guys.
Come on, guys. Come on this way.
They're probably following you, aren't they, Adam? Didn't you?
I don't know if
Put
it
the card
follows
down.
the card holder or what. Ravi come up says, I'm level 100, love this game. I wish they keep making levels.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean that's all in
we'll see.
Cold Iron's hands. So
We'll see what the project is next.
Sissy Bubble says the Prometheus style levels are my favorite in the game.
I agree. They're really fun. Like to see that space like more fully fleshed out in media is great. This might draw some ire in some circles, but one of the other games that I enjoy is Elder Scrolls Online, and one of the things that I really like about that is just being able to see all the spaces that aren't in the mainstay like single player titles for the first time. Like, you know, you read about these different lands and some of the books and stuff in like Skyrim and Oblivion and Morrowind, and then it's like, oh, we're actually going to that place. It's just so neat seeing that.
Yeah.
And I think this was like one of the first game to really play in that sandbox. I mean, not Prometheus. You saw a little bit of that influence in Clone and Marines and Isolation, but it was only a teeny.
Yeah, it was like
bit of
Easter
influence.
egg level, honestly. Like this was the first one to really dive into the Alien prequel stuff, and even someone like me who's mixed emotions on the prequels. I remember the first time we went into that like the engineer headroom from Prometheus, and we were all like, "Oh, that's so cool that they did that in the game." And this is the first time we've seen the jockey chamber looking like it did in Prometheus, and now we have the stone rooms from Covenant. Like, yeah, and that's part of the enjoyment I got out of Colonial Marines as well. Like, regardless of if I was disappointed in that game, just being able to go through Hadley's Hope was like kind of a sci-fi museum kind of experience for me.
Yeah.
And this game definitely had some of that.
Like the second mission when you go outside for the first time and you see that head in the foyer, that was another one of those. Oh. I think Caleb asked something about engineers earlier while we're on that topic. I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah, let me scroll up to that. Was there ever any consideration to add the engineers, or was that off limits?
I'm trying to remember how that all went. I think that there might have been like some prototyping that happened with them, but I don't remember where that ended up. Sorry.
Because I was surprised that you guys had the engineer like armor that was really well modeled. I'm like, oh, are these guys actually going to show up?
Yeah, I don't know if it was like narrative or gameplay. I'm not sure what exactly happened there. Sorry, it's
Oh no, that's all good.
again a lot of the enemies had already been kind of solved by the time I joined the team. Like in terms of this is our checklist of what we want.
I don't know how you'd have done them in an interesting way.
Yeah, I guess it had to be like really weird, weaponry. Maybe like something with pathogen, like bioweapons or something. I guess I just don't know how they would show up and not absolutely destroy you. Like, they're so much more scientifically advanced. I don't know.
Not that we see that in Prometheus. Mr.
Yeah.
rips the body
Yeah, it's just
apart.
big angry boy.
Well, I'm cranky in the morning too, so.
Yeah.
Oh, Chevy also had a question. You mentioned that a queen fight was playtested during development. Is there anything else that sounded good in principle but didn't work in the game?
Sorry.
Oh.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what else. Like, were we playtesting that we scrapped? I don't know if it was necessarily that. I think a lot of it was we just like shave down things to like the best experience we could get with the budget that we had.
Adam,
So
there's health
What?
up there.
Oh,
There's
okay.
health up there.
I'm trying to remember other things. Queen fight. No, I'm sorry. I'm not coming up with anything. Yeah, sorry for cop out. I really am struggling to remember anything else that was like kind of like a big moment. Like,
No worries.
man, we had to chop this.
What aspect of it was the most satisfying at the end of it all? You know, what bit that?
Oh man. The most satisfying thing. I feel like we turned in a really good project that like honors the franchise and the fans. Like I feel like we just knocked it out in that. Like as a designer, it was a dream to work on, and like as a fan, like I loved what we were doing. I think it's just the love letter to the IP for me.
And Ravi says the game legit feels like being in the Alien universe.
Clear. Rodriguez, we're getting close.
Yeah, testament to the
I know.
everyone working together, like the art team and narrative and
Your people prepped for eval.
ideas coming from everywhere. Like everybody was pretty invested in what we were doing. I
And please, call me Cynthia.
I trying to think. Did we ever? Sorry, I'm just thinking in cycles about like what other things maybe we tried. I know we had like kind of pitched the idea of like rescuing people, like if they'd been cocooned or something, like dragged to the hive.
Oh
Like, that
yeah.
was a request that came up kind of periodically, but
When you say a request, as in this is maybe something that you guys have talked about internally and go, wouldn't it be cool? Or is this like something Fox would go?
no, it was something internally. We'd be like, you know, what if we tried this? And I think it didn't really like. What are you doing? Like what if like how do you do it fair and meaningfully, but also like you're locking one person out of the game, like watching
Yeah.
your friends play? I think that's kind of where that sort of fell by the wayside. And
Because wasn't that
also,
a thing in Left 4 Dead? Like, if you got killed, they would rescue you at a different point in the game or something.
yeah,
Thanatos Encounter, the Game Boy Color
Wayland sentry
game,
guns. Clear the road.
did something similar, but that was a little bit different because you were playing multiple characters.
yeah,
So if you lost, if a character got killed, you could try and find the hive on that particular level and go and rescue this character, and it then go back into your pool of choices to start the next mission from.
yeah.
So different, different game.
Yeah, and that's one of those ideas. I want to be clear. Like, we didn't prototype that or anything at any point. We just, those conversations would come up periodically, and we just determined like this isn't really the gameplay experience we want to provide. Like, let's do shooty bang bang things, and not like people hate being like stunned and stuff in games as it is. Let's not like lock people out wholesale and be at the mercy of like your friends saving you or not. Like,
Or randoms.
yeah, or randos. We've all had some horror stories, I'm sure, from.
Oh yes.
It's actually kind of cool with the synths in this, the friendly synths.
Yeah, I just gotta remember to not waste ammo.
Yeah, I keep taking shots at randoms.
I'm a simple man. I've been trained to shoot all the robots.
Anything that doesn't look human.
Yeah.
It was cool how they got this working on the Switch. I was surprised about that.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's using cloud tech or something.
Yeah, our engineer Christian could have probably spoke a little bit more to that. I think that was something he just kind of
Area secure.
pulled out of his
Like the Sims
back
in
pocket one day.
Vietnam.
I just remember coming in and we're like, "Oh, hey, we're doing the Switch." I'm like, "What?" It was amazing.
I've not tried it on the Switch, I'll be honest.
Sergeant Herrera, please listen. You need to withdraw your team. The only survivors
Oh.
of Hollis Station are
for that head. I love it. Okay.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, I think we're about at that Prometheus room.
Yes.
Or is that the next?
Oh
Yeah,
no, it was
that's
the
the
first
next
mission.
campaign. Yeah.
First mission of the next one.
Here are the prizes.
Ooh, up top. Nice.
That's a electroshock sentry gun. That's handy.
Mm.
Corey, you might want to heal up and grab this last.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's a fair call out.
And sorry, Corey, I don't know if I checked with you on time. We usually go for 2 hours total, so that's another 50 minutes if you're good
Yeah,
for
I'm
it.
good.
Okay.
Thanks for the check. Yeah, I'm off to go do some more fishing this afternoon.
Nice. Good thing to do with a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Go on then.
Nope. Oh boy, double confusion because workers fighting workers.
Yeah. This is dangerous. This is scary. Actually.
They're just all getting in a wrench fight.
You always know a work in jail.
Oh man.
That was another thing I liked about Fireteam, was the Joes making a return.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
Oh, I guess we didn't wake that one up. Okay, that's my fault. I jumped right in front of you.
Apologies.
No, you're good. Let me run at the person that's already down, like pointed down range.
It's just everywhere.
And one of the things I always love to do after a game comes out is just go into ArtStation and look up all the concept art I can.
Mm.
I told you. Call me Cynthia. SNTHYA.
Did our guys upload, or folks rather, upload much from this? I don't remember. I mean, I saw it all internally as it was coming out, so I was like, yeah.
Oh, Proud on me.
Oops, sorry.
My fault. My fault.
I remember one of the things they did upload was like an APC. And I was like, oh, was there an APC at one point?
I would still love to actually get a drivable APC in one of the games.
Yeah, that would be pretty sick.
Other than Infestation. Sorry, let me add that caveat. It was done in Infestation.
2D side scroller doesn't count for that.
Hey, come on, you've got to give that game credit, because Infestation was actually a solid game.
Yeah, that's one I wish they would port to modern systems. Because I really like that Mummy Demastered that WayForward did, based on the Dark Universe Mummy movie they tried to get off the ground.
Yeah.
But the game was like really good.
Nice. I hadn't tried it. Where's that damn sniper?
We have a sniper on our side, apparently.
Yeah, trying to. Oh, we actually have a.
Yes, we have a, yeah. Caleb says, yeah, the little bits of EU content included in this game are great. Okay, we're healing up.
Advance.
Ooh, ow. That's not fair.
All right. Okay.
Okay, I'm heading out to grab that power core.
Try not to shoot your head. Where Oh, there's our
Nice
synth.
sniper.
Sorry, I didn't realize he'd made it up to the steps there. I'm all pointing down range and not paying attention to what's at mid range.
So it makes it super confusing with all our allies as well.
Through.
I don't know which are the good ones and which are the bad ones. Out of curiosity, did you ever
Yeah.
read what was it called? Infiltrator.
I did. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I think like many folks, I'd hoped that we would have gone to Ball Station proper and seen that lodge too.
Was that something that was created for the book more than the game, or?
You know, I'm not entirely sure how that all went. Sorry. Our narrative designer might have had a little bit more insight as to, you know, the direct relationships there.
Yeah, fair. Were you already a big fan before working at Cold Iron? Then? Is this,
Yeah. I mean, I can't say like a lot of the extended universe stuff I wasn't familiar with, and you know, I'm more of just the kind of cinematic space for the things that I've like geeked out over the years. Don't say that I don't enjoy those other things. I guess I just always had like other hobbies. I was like really invested in like D&D and magic and
So more of a
other
fantasy
stuff.
guy than a sci-fi guy, huh?
Yeah, always had been. That's changing the older I get though. Like I really got into like Doctor Who and finally starting to dip my toes into Trek. Very on the kiddie pool end of that right now, but
there's a lot of Trek and a lot of Doctor Who. If you're only just
Yeah.
starting now.
oh no, I've like Who is my fandom. I've watched classic, like everything that was available on that, I think 3 times through at this point, and all of like New Who, so it's several times through.
I unfortunately gave up with Who around Capaldi.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand where people had criticisms with some of that stuff and fell off. I'm like, I watched classic. Like, there's very little you're gonna throw at me that's gonna put me off.
I only watched select bits of classic.
That's probably for the best. Some of it really does kind of hold up from a storytelling point, but like, oof, those budgets.
Yeah, BBC special effects.
We'll have you home before the sweat dries.
Are we done? Oh, we're done.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, as far as oh, we are done. As far as aliens go, like I remember watching Alien and then Aliens like back to back when I was 7. Like the minute my local like video store had it on VHS, my dad rented it, and we sat down and basically did like a pretty much a double header, and just been kind of hooked since. And that's kind of one of those things like full circle too. Like I have those good memories of hanging with my dad and watching horror movies and stuff, and Aliens being one of them. Like when I got the invite to work on this, I was like, that's an easy yes. Like,
Okay, so we finished that campaign. I was thinking maybe we could see if we could get through Pathogen, or we could do some of the other game modes like restock turrets. What do you,
I'm easy. Yeah.
what are you feeling, Aaron?
Well, let's do some Pathogen.
Okay. Let me just change my loadout real quick here.
Mm-hmm.
Xander says, I totally misheard that as Shrek, not Trek.
I hear they're bringing that back. That'll be interesting. Are you mainly a recon player, Corey?
No, I'm actually leveling it up a little bit on this account. I'd
wow.
already gone through like 2 other development accounts and had
Man.
gone to end game with those. So
every class you're very familiar with.
yeah.
All right. I do like
Yeah, well,
the
I haven't
group.
played Technician for a while.
I think that's another place. Thinking about like playing Recon that maybe in hindsight we kind of missed the mark at launch was like the zoom distance on a lot of our scopes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was pretty far. We're like, this seems like a good number. Sure, it's 50% like zoom. What's the problem there? And then realizing like, wait a minute, no, this works really great in a couple places, but it's kind of terrible in a lot of like the like mid-range rooms. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get myself motion sickness getting out there trying to like whip around and in out like at that distance. So we ended up like walking back some of those like magnification values.
Yeah.
Or they could be starting a second hive. We've been ordered dirt side to find
It
out.
must be really hard trying to get that balance.
Yeah. Especially when it's a lot of this stuff is like, on paper this math seems like this might be right, and then you get to playing it and you're like, oh.
And just curious, like in terms of getting into game development for those interested in that, like
Mhm.
if you wouldn't mind sharing, like how did you become a systems designer, a game developer? Like, did you do secondary education for that? Is that something that requires like a lot of math knowledge, or is that more the programming side of things? Like, how did you get into this world?
Well, I will say as a systems designer, math is immensely helpful, especially spending a lot of time like doing paper prototyping and tracking, numerical values, like tracking combat formulas or how like stats interact with one another. Like that's specifically for systems design. Math is your friend, as is Excel or Google Sheets. However, like, and this is one of the things I actually do enjoy, like when people ask like how to start in industry. I can't say that I necessarily recommend the path that I took. I did not go to secondary school for it. It's something that I basically brute forced my way in. I was working at Sony Online Entertainment in those days, Daybreak now. Again, coming from MMO enjoyer and development background. I was a game master, like, customer support, basically, starting in 2007. And I worked, that was my 40-hour-a-week job, going in game, answering questions, like helping people sort out quests that might have bugged, or like my items disappeared, where did they go, and helping people either find them somewhere in an inventory they forgot about, or any number of things. And it was really cool. It was a really great experience. I liked doing that, but that doesn't, it's not really like a long-term career at the time. I don't know if things have changed then, but the pay wasn't the best. Fast forward about I think it was about a year after that, I had the opportunity to be a design apprentice on a title called Vanguard Saga of Heroes. It was kind of like one of those like second wave MMOs, but one of the first like kind of bigger ones to quote fail. Like it had a pretty big budget, came out, and player base died immediately. I enjoyed it as a player and jumped the opportunity to not only like have a career path to development, but also like as a player to fix a lot of the underlying problems that plagued the launch of the game. So I would do like 30-ish hours a week on top of my 40 hours. Like I do my customer support, and then I do another 30 hours a week.
Oof, that's
like
rough.
being mentored by
Ah.
working alongside like senior and lead designers and just learning the ins and outs of game development. Like we were working with Unreal, like a bastardization of Unreal 2. Sorry, can I say that language? Is that
Yeah, you're fine.
It's all good.
one check? I assume we've got worse in the Aliens universe, but this might be a good PG stream.
No, I have,
Anyway.
I have a very much a potty mouth.
Good. Okay, we're in good company. So yeah, I would work 70 hours a week for months. I did that for a while, and then I eventually got invited to be just a full-time game designer, and that was sort of my in. But we were working in a Unreal 2 with some hacks on top of it, and just got really familiar with scripting and stuff in that. So that was my in. I don't think people today really probably need to go to secondary for that kind of stuff. There's a wealth of information out there. Like my advice to someone who's curious about like, I want to do game design, just, you know, pick an engine, Unity, Unreal. I think some folks are working with like Godot and some other ones too, but pick one and just, you know, find some tutorials and put yourself through the reps if you have the discipline for it. Like that, you have, you know, as a designer, I think you could absolutely find your way in that. Just make sure to like remember those moments where something really worked and why it worked and why it doesn't. And also don't be afraid to like, you know, fail your way through stuff. Some of the things that like we learned the most, I find, is I tried to do this thing and it didn't work. Why is that? And then having the like determination to stick through it and figure out like, oh, that's why that was either worth my time or very much not. Let's do something based on that information. So
it's my experience doing group policies.
yeah.
Why does this not work? Sorry, I work in IT.
Oh, right on, yeah.
So yeah, half my day is I want to do this. Okay, why is that not working?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
What difficulty are we on this one?
We're on intense.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Was busy chatting and splatting bugs and being sloppy about killing the bugs, but
Nah, it's fair. It's why we like these. They're just a little bit more chill.
Yeah, this is the first year, because we started live streaming games more often last year. But this year we had the idea to invite some game devs on for games that they had worked on. So I believe you are the third to have joined us this year.
nice.
Because we had, it was the third, because we had Thibaut Claudel, right, with Dark
was
Descent?
last year.
Oh, that was last year.
Ended
Okay.
last- yeah,
All right.
the last year.
Well, I'm counting that. And
But
then,
TiVo was the thing that we were like, oh, it's pretty fucking cool. We should do this a bit more often.
and then we had on Alex Moore, who worked on AVP 2010.
He was the lead designer on AVP
Yeah.
2010.
Awesome. Glad to be in.
Yeah, it's cool because we don't. I always say, the games don't get the documentation that they deserve.
Behind the scenes kind of stuff.
But yeah. So it's nice to be able to just chat to folks such as yourself who do work on them and learn about your perspectives and experiences.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's good to be able to talk about those things. I always enjoyed, doing that, but I also feel like since the pandemic, like I'm a feral little creature, haven't really done a lot of this, so just like, meandering and socializing.
Yeah, it's all just like readjusting to the way things were and how things are different. Like I totally get that for sure.
Yeah.
Mitch says Alien's Fireteam Elite art book now, please. Same for Dark Descent. Yeah, that's something I missed. Like, I think Isolation was the last one to have a proper art book. But again, like going on ArtStation and seeing all the art that concept artists put into these games, I'm like, you could fill a book with this easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Get Cold Iron on the line. Art book now.
I need to make friends with Titan's new
Editor in chief.
editor. Yeah. I've not connected with the new person yet.
Just be like, hey, we took down that leak that you asked us to.
Yeah. It's not our fault BNC posted it too early.
Drop it at the door. I'll detonate my remote.
But it'll definitely be an interesting year for Alien with all that's coming up. The movie coming out and the TV series in production. The 45th
Still waiting on
anniversary of the
Sturdy
original
Austin's thing
film.
as well.
I'm pretty curious to see how they, we've seen the conversations around like what is going to be prequel stuff and what isn't for the series. I'm kind of curious how that's going to be
Yeah.
actually handled.
I mean, personally, I'm hoping for more of a back to basics
Yeah.
thing like they did with Prey, because I thought that was pretty successful. But I'm sure there will be some prequel nods for sure, even if it's not a direct continuation.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
I think it's just something you're not going to ever be able to escape now, and it depends on what the property does with it. So like how this game, how this melds.
Yeah, my headcanon was always like David didn't make the aliens, he just made an offshoot of them. That was, I don't know, like my read wasn't this was the totality of the xenomorph as we knew it in the cinematic space, but I guess time will tell how they address that.
I think the author of the novelization for Covenant did try and take that route, because I don't think he liked the idea, so he kind of made it that David had recreated the alien instead of created it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was looking at it. Like, this is a thing that exists, but there might be other xenomorphs out there, and I guess until we see it all tied together with a bow, that's what I'm going with in headcanon. So it never really bothered me that we had the prequels and how they addressed it in that regard.
Well, that's an interesting thing with Dark Descent compared to this game, because Dark Descent, as opposed to this game, which kind of rolls with the prequels, Dark Descent takes a wildly different path when it comes to those sorts of elements, and I found that quite interesting. I was surprised they were even allowed to do what they did, honestly.
Oh yeah. Some implications there.
You've got my curiosity piqued. I'm gonna have to go.
It is a very
further
good game. It is a very good game.
Very different to this, but in a good way. Like, this game I love playing, and that game I love playing. I've played this game way more, but I do feel like I need to go back to Dark Descent a little bit. Because this game is more of just the, like, hey, you want to play some Fireteam Elite, like, you hop in with your friends, whereas Dark Descent is, like, a tactical survival horror kind of experience where you want to sit down and sink some time into it.
I think it's one of the franchise's strengths as well, is the same as the movies, the breadth of different games.
Yeah, there's so many
Different genre
stories you can
games,
tell in
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Mike's Monster says, I've heard about a movie called Romulus. Is there a trailer out yet? Where's the trailer? Why do we have to wait till Alien Day? They don't have faith in the movie. Mike is, I think he may be parroting some of the things people have been throwing his way.
Joe agrees with you, by the way, Corey. That's his headcanon for David.
Yeah. Nice. Glad to hear that I'm not alone in that then.
I think, yeah, to be fair, I do think that is how a lot of people would prefer it to be.
Big boy.
Canon's a whole other argument
Yeah.
and discussion that
Oh boy.
I hate.
I'm trying to take this spitter out. They're always the thing that I'm like, I'm dealing with the elite in my face, and I lose sight of the spitters, and they end up doing far more damage to me than they should. That might be by design, but
Right, one warrior's down.
Got the Praetorian.
Yeah, and Dosito over here with this guy.
Yeah, there we go. He's down.
What were you going to say, Aaron?
I don't know. I forgot.
Here's a question for you. Do you have any of the toys of the aliens from your game?
I do. I have the runner and the prowler.
Nice.
I need to pick up the other two. I keep hoping that I'm gonna find them locally. Target had them very briefly, but they went pretty quick. Like the only ones that they had on the shelf here were the ones I already had. And it's funny, my so like when I moved to San Jose to do the project, I met some folks locally that played Magic the Gathering, and we used to get together every Friday night. And of course, pandemic happened. We all scattered. Fast forward to about a year and a half ago, of our like 7 players that played Commander together, 4 of them moved here, and we all just were like, it was, you know, not something we planned. So we still meet and play every Friday. They've got like some of the other ones. I think between us we have maybe 3 of the sets. I should see if I can like swap some cards with them and be like, give me your figures.
That's got to be a cool feeling as well, though. You know, to be like, I was a part of this
Yeah.
project where this came from.
Yeah, when they announced the figures, I was like, oh man, that's awesome. I gotta get them all. And I missed the boat. I'm sure I can get them on like collectible toy sites or eBay too if I wanted to, but I try to support local when I can.
No, I'm the same. I have a prowler and a spitter myself.
Nice.
I still haven't opened it yet, but I got the Prime 1 statue for the Prowler as my first Prime 1 statue, and I just did a payment plan and paid for it over the course of a year, and it showed up, and I still, because I want to do an unboxing video on it, so I still haven't unboxed it, but looking forward to opening that up.
Those Prime 1 statues are fucking
Yeah, they're nuts.
gorgeous.
In the best ways, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I could ever afford one.
And I thought it was appropriate they did the Prowlers because that was like this game's new alien type, you know?
Yeah.
Although Spitter was the new
Yeah,
the
it
new
was
look.
it was a new look. I
New
actually
look.
love the look of the Spitter in this game. Sizzy Bubbles did an art piece on the Spitter, and I thought it was great as well. But yeah, it wasn't Colonial Marines did the Spitter first.
Yes.
And yeah, some people prefer that one, some people prefer this one. I always liked how they looked in this one a bit more.
That's the great thing about it too. There's, you know, some space for the genetic reflex, whatever, to manifest things, and it's not exactly canon breaking to have slightly different looks, I think.
Yeah. That's something like the book on this touched on, was they were experimenting with the aliens and with the Black Doom.
Yeah.
And that's how Monica came about as well. And
I
I thought,
love Monica.
yeah, that was an interesting boss design.
Yeah. Super drone.
From a narrative point of view, you know, I like the idea of how much does the alien retain of its host.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. Oh, where's Crush It? Where is it?
Get some.
It's down.
Oops, sorry.
It's alright, that's my fault. Diving. Yeah, Mitch says the alien host animals helps with the variation too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I liked how, you know, we had the Leon for the stalkers and, you know, local LV895, I think it was, right? Animals to base the runner stock off of.
You know what, I can't remember what the designation was actually. Warriors down.
Bitters are clear. You stuck over here? What are you guys doing? I think I confused them being up at the top there.
Good, they can be confused.
That's another thing I liked, is just how the aliens traverse the environment in this, seeing them jump over, like, the barriers and stuff, and crawl on the walls.
Having the wall crawling was really neat. I mean, obviously, it was a bit of a design challenge to get right, especially in the early points when you're like prototyping the maps and Putting it through its iterations.
Crush it.
Down
2
the
crushes,
primary
actually.
one here.
Ugh.
Another spitter. Get out of here.
Whew.
Here we go.
Nice.
Sarah says the Prime 1 Prowler is stunning. Caleb says all it costs is a mortgage.
that'd be a cheap mortgage. That'd be a preferable mortgage these days.
Mm-hmm. I've not been fortunate enough to own or to join the land-owning portion of the economy yet
It is
myself.
unfortunately less and less accessible for our
Yeah.
generation, I think.
Well, you're a TCG player. You can't afford anything.
Yeah. Fortunately, our play group is pro proxy, so like we can use
Yeah.
unofficial cards for some of it. But what that I found that has honestly led to with us is we end up loving the stuff, and then we're like, all right, local game shop has these cards. Let's just go buy those.
Yeah, I agree. That's like the benefit of things like your Sims, like Tabletop Simulator, and what do you guys have? Is it Arena? Is that the official thing
Yeah.
for you?
It seems like they've been
Yep.
doing more licensing tie-ins too. Like I saw Jurassic Park
Oh, God,
Magic
it's
the Gathering set.
ridiculous.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
can we get Alien? Like that'd be kind of.
I was in my local yesterday, and I saw they had a Cluedo
Yeah, that just
tie-in
released
for
yesterday.
Magic. I just shook my head. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Not all of them are for me. Needless to say, back to our earlier point on Doctor Who, that was an auto buy for me. They're pretty good. They actually have done a very good job, I will say, of like handling the IPs pretty well from like a fan service point, and like managing them pretty well from a design point of view for my money. Like I appreciate that, but as a long time, I started playing in like revised era, which was what, like, I don't know, 30 years ago at this point. Seeing Magic cards and you're like, is this still Magic? That's kind of kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But I'm pretty excited for the Fallout ones that they're going to release. That's probably the next one where I'm like, this feels a little weird. But actually seeing all the art and seeing the flavor and how they treated it, like, I think it's going to turn out okay. That said, Clue and Magic, you lost me there.
Yeah.
It's a little out there.
But Wizards took a fair bit of criticism for a lot of their handling lately, haven't they? Wasn't there a whole fiasco around one of the anniversary sets?
Yeah, $1,000 for 60 like random cards
That you
Jeez.
can't even play.
that you can't even play. Yeah,
More expensive than a Prime 1 statue.
it was at that point that my play group was like, we can play with proxy cards to some extent, because if Wizards is gonna sell them to us in an official capacity, like, who are they to tell us we can't do it unofficially?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's entirely fair. I would buy an Alien expansion though if they ever did one.
yes, if they did one,
a
that would
heartbeat.
be a day one buy. I think same thing with any of those, like 80s things. Like if there was Predator,
Terminator.
that's an easy buy. Terminator, yeah. I mean, that's practically like 4 decks right there. You could just do Aliens, Predators, Terminator. Be a
There was
nightmare, I'm
there
sure.
was actually in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a card game for Alien and Predator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it lasted 2 sets, and the game engine also had a Terminator expansion to it as well. I have a full collection of the Alien stuff. Alien and Predator. It was Alien Predator, the card game. I've never played it.
That might be
the
a fun
open-
thing to try and do at like a convention if everyone's ever all
yeah.
together. Like, let's try.
I have starter decks for the 3 species. Upper Decks card game. I don't think it's really that popular, but the Versus system.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of random like licensed expansions as well, and they had an Alien and a Predator one. That plays kind of like Magic in the resource system.
Oh, Hanukkah.
I love Hanukkah in the game. I hate him in the book, absolutely loathe him in the book, but in the game, it's fucking hilarious. I love him.
Oh,
Number 9 has a question that I also might find interesting. It says, Corey, was there an actual photo mode for the devs or other odd tools for the devs to use in terms of
photo
like,
mode. I don't remember there being a photo mode, yeah. Or, I mean, obviously we could go in engine, you know, like in Unreal and pop around and look at the maps and kind of, you know, you could pause. I guess that's kind of like that. You could pause like playing the level and then go in and pan around stuff.
Yeah, I know. I personally have used the Unreal Engine Unlocker tool. I think my friend's Boma, or goes by Otis, and he does a lot of photo mode tools, especially with Unreal Engine. So that has allowed me to like pause the game and fly around with FreeCam and do like custom lighting and
Yep.
stuff like that. So, but yeah, I know that's as like a real life photographer. I love doing that in the video game space as well. So I do really like when like how that's become more popular, right? Like recently with the Tomb Raider collection I've been playing, I was surprised they did a photo mode for a game like that, but it was really cool to see.
Yeah, that might have been a nice feature to like have officially had. Again, you know, budget and such. I'm not sure what all that would have entailed, but we really had to kind of pick and choose. Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been officially in an Alien or Predator game, and with Hunting Grounds, I had to like use the scopes. Like I had to turn off. I think the developer actually turned off. Like they made it so you could just fully turn off the HUD because I kept posting pictures where I had just cropped in and I kept asking for it, and so they did it.
But they did a community piece on you, didn't they?
Yeah, they interviewed me because I did a lot of screenshots for the game. But yeah, that was a lot of fun just doing photo shoots, having someone get a custom Predator, go into a private match, and just doing like a photo shoot. So it's something I feel like it adds just an extra layer of a creative thing you can do in the video game space. So I always love to see it.
Save me there. You saved me.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
I think we may have lost Corey. Perhaps an internet cut.
Okie dokie. Probably need to play this campaign a few more times. You know, I don't really remember Pathogen that well.
Analysis suggests carbon ash, the remains of
Aaron, if you want to check Discord just in case he comes back.
Yeah.
Once we get a moment.
Well, he'll be able to just join the chat. Don't need to invite him back in.
Oh, okay.
Calum says, "Shoot me like one of your French predators." I would say, since Calum was one of your models at times.
Yep, Calum and Mike and Sizzy as well were all some of my
I get bored.
my Predator photo subjects. You could not tolerate it. So.
No.
I feel like you had more fun with Aliens games when I asked you to do it for Colonial Marines and stuff.
Oh, I think he's just dropped from Discord. Yeah. Oh, I've run out of ammo for my pistol. So we appear to have lost Corey for the moment, so just
Sit tight, Marines.
bear with us.
Hey, that's a mechanism.
Okay, come in. Sorry.
The bodies.
Since we don't have Corey at the minute, what do you think about Turbo 84's question? Do you think they will make the combat synthetic a playable class? So let's consider it as a theoretical question for a theoretical Fireteam 2 or whatever they end up doing next.
That would be interesting if you could play as a synthetic. I don't think we've really seen that explored in Alien games at all. But that also makes you wonder, like, okay, like, how would the stats be fair, like, and all that, so. I guess it doesn't take that much to take down Sense in this game, though, so maybe.
No. I don't know
Oh, there
if
he
I've
is.
been-
Sorry. Wow. We're having high winds where I'm at, and the neighborhood I'm in is wired up like just really bananas. So anytime we get anything over like a 12-mile-an-hour gust, sometimes things happen. I was just in the middle of saying like, hey, if I cut out real quick because I saw my lights flicker, my internet died immediately. I was
Oh,
like,
man.
God bless it. Sorry.
No worries.
you're
Aaron,
fine.
do you want to back out of this? And we can just do maybe a quick... If you still have
you do a
time,
skirmish?
Corey. Yeah.
I'm good on a little bit of time. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Okay.
not a skirmish. That's not quick. What's the
Restock
what's the
turrets,
second one?
maybe?
Oh, the other one.
The earthquake one?
Yeah, the earthquake one.
Yeah, we can do that. It's a little spicy.
That was, yeah, that was I liked the additional modes. I kind of wish we got more maps. You know, going back to that thing Adam was saying earlier of more. I do kind of wish we'd got more maps for the modes, but I was glad we got the extra stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you guys should be able to just rejoin me.
I'm in.
Let me
I'm
just.
not used to playing anything other than Gunner these days. So, Lancer, let's go Lancer. I haven't played that for a while.
Yeah, I'll probably play something besides Recon for this one. We're doing it on Intense.
Yeah, maybe I'll switch up as well. I'll do Technician.
Let me see if I can just rejoin. There we go. Oh, whoops, sorry. I guess I invited myself. You want to do it the other way?
Yeah, I think I can just invite you here. 1 second, maybe.
Or can I auto join through Steam?
There we go.
In a minute. All right. Okay, there we go. Loading. Sweet. All right. Technician Lancer.
Lancer was a really cool class.
Oh, I love the Lancer.
Yeah.
Was it Predator inspired? I've got to ask. Do you know? Do you know if it was Predator inspired?
No, it wasn't Predator inspired. Sorry. I guess it's Predator coded, but no, it's that wasn't the genesis of it. We're just like, we want to do another flavor of like DPS stuff, and one of the things we were looking at was like weapon combinations that we hadn't done yet, like put the CQWs with the heavies, and what would that class look like? And that was one of the options. There were some other ones I think we had been talking about, but this is one that made the cut. So
I do love the Lancer. I love the shoulder man. In my head canon, the actual technology was Predator inspired. They were like, oh wait, those guys, that's actually pretty cool. Let's do that. But no, as a class, I love it too. What's this? Battlefield salvage. Should we have some goodies?
Okay.
sure. I'm a fan of goodies.
If we survive.
I was gonna
I
do the
believe in
human
us.
tanks, but goodies are good.
If we survive. Skybox on this map was really cool, if I remember
Yeah.
rightly.
Yeah, the storm, and man, this was a really cool one to see come together. Just for that, it's like, whoa! I could just come here and like vibe out on the environment.
It's something I liked about the mission we were playing before we lost you for a moment there too. Is there was like a storm that would just gain in intensity through the mission, and I really liked that environment.
Yeah.
The
But,
weather effects, yeah.
it's something I
Weather
feel
effects are
like
always cool.
Helldivers 2 does really well. Is just the variety of the planets and the different weather effects on them, time of day. Like a game like Warzone, I think would feel less stale if it's like sometimes you drop and it's at night, or it's raining, or it's cloudy. Like even a game like PUBG does that, like an older game. So it's something I do really appreciate with games where you're kind of doing the same types of mission over and over again. Having that little bit of variety just with the environment or weather effects helps a lot, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I think, kind of goes back to like some of our like, you know, MMO design experience that was on the team. Like, just those little touches that kind of make the world feel a little bit more believable. You know, being able to get those things in where you can. Oh, I should have changed up my weapons. This is a... I was trying to level up my rifles when I was last playing and just realized, like, I've got long distance stuff set up on this. But that's okay. Oh, I'm going to head over to A and help you then, since they seem to be there.
Yep. Did Austin end up winning awards for the music for this? I can't remember if he took one.
I know he was nominated for an Emmy, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't believe he did. I think that was it? Shoot, sorry. Was it Bear that took that category home? McCready, whatever. Oh, sorry, I'm bad with names.
McCreary.
McCreary. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the Battlestar composer, or he was. They got him working on the new Halo show at the minute.
Nice.
ah,
Oh, damn it.
rough. All right, bringing it back on.
Okay. Let's protect that. I'm gonna actually drop one of these guys here.
I need some ammo.
A little bit of a rough start. We'll get this.
Yeah, what's that?
It seems like with Phase 1, they mostly attack a single generator.
That's the warm-up lap.
Yep.
Gotta stagger the difficult. Oh, shoot, no. Why would I? Did not mean to put that.
Oh, did you start us?
No, I nearly did. I
Oh,
nearly
okay,
did.
good.
Requisition credits after each attack. Choose carefully.
Okay, get a few turrets here.
Bum, bum, bum. Grab a cryo grid as well. If you guys want to say when, I'll kick it off.
I think I'm good whenever.
Yep.
Okay, going. Bam, 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 bam.
Alright, looks like I've got a warrior on C, but
All right,
Okay,
I'll head
going
over.
to you.
cryo grid down. Seem to have dumbfounded the warrior. That's good. You love to see it.
He's down. Oh, where are you, sneaky?
Respawns. Okay.
Prowler on the roof above you, Adam. He's down.
Let's see. Looks like I got incoming at Alpha and Beta.
I'm gonna head to Alpha.
Yes.
I will.
Surging. Prowler above you, Adam.
Let's see what we got going on over at Beta before I swing over to Alpha. Oh, they just hit it and left, I guess. Okay. Oh, we got the turrets over here. Gotcha, gotcha.
Crusher is going to be...
Yep. He wants those delicious turrets. Alright, now he's on me.
I'm coming.
Prepare an A before I run off. Okay. I'm behind you, Adam.
Oh, C's being hit hard.
Okay, headed that way too.
There's a not boiler, burster coming up on you. Yeah.
Yep.
Not for long.
Oh, Praetorian on C.
Oh. Off of my face! Alright, let's heal up.
Some ammo.
Ooh.
Alright, he's back online.
I believe this was the first DLC mode that was added, right?
Yes and no. I think Horde mode was technically the first, but it
was on launch.
yeah, it was on launch.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I guess this was the first DLC game mode. So the timeline was wild because we were like working on stuff that we later launched. So remembering like, what was that timeline on it? We had already been a little bit underway on this stuff, as I recall. Like, pretty. Like we had the other stuff in the can, and we're working on this as launch was happening. Oh, why am I? I almost did it. I saw the button and went to press it.
And I remember when this game was first announced, the publisher was Fox Next, I believe. And I think they kind of went defunct, and now it's just 20th Century Games, because I've seen a few recent games where it goes under like 20th Century Games, like the new Avatar game has that. So I guess that was just something that changed with Disney. I'm sure the Daybreak acquisition was interesting, considering you had been there before,
Yeah.
right? Like,
It was wild. Some of the folks that I worked with, back in, as late as 2013 were still there. I was like, whoa. In different roles and stuff, but it was nice to reconnect with folks too that I hadn't spoken to in a while.
I remember when we initially reported on Focus, they were doing like the international publishing of the game, but I guess they just became the sole publisher. Like, can you speak to that at all? Do you know if they are the Alien publisher now, or if that's still just 20th Century Games, or?
Yeah, that's something I just, unfortunately I don't actually know in that case. I make spreadsheets go Bert. I only hear what I hear, sometimes tangentially through stuff, and I hadn't, like, licensing isn't one of those that really had a whole lot of insight into to begin with. Alright, headed to Charlie.
Yeah, I'm also here. I brought that message for it.
There's a couple, I think, that got stuck, it looks like, trying to spawn at Alpha. Oh, wow, okay, they ripped through that.
I'm gonna try and save Charlie here.
I guess the important thing is we just need them stood up before the last few seconds of the map.
Ooh. Nice.
Okay, Charlie's
big
back
boy.
on speed.
Oh, it's too late on my blast wave.
Okay, he's down. He's down.
Heading for Alpha.
Same.
Stick together.
Uh-oh.
I'll try and keep C a little.
Okay.
Okay, heading for B.
Okay. I'm gonna run up the middle to B.
Oh no.
I think the thing that I really enjoy most about this particular game mode is the like you kind of really need to coordinate on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Headed back to Charlie.
There's a warrior on me.
Okay. Coming back.
Oh, he's gonna nail me.
Are you at?
Yeah,
Are you at Alpha?
I'm at Alpha now. I'm down to Alpha.
Okay. We've got a minute. We're still good on time. I'm gonna head to Alpha and get.
Warrior at B.
I've only got
Oh,
10.
got another warrior headed and a prowler run past me.
Oh, he's nearly dead.
Oh, man. Rough.
Dang it.
That one's tough.
Yeah. It's pretty rough.
I think it's the hardest. Of
It
the
is.
Game modes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely is. I'm down to try one more if we want.
Okay. Did you want to do the same game mode or different ones?
Sure.
Okay.
I will, however, select different guns this time.
Okay.
Knock it down a difficulty as well.
Oh
Okay.
no, we can stay where we're at.
All right. Intense. Intense it is.
Okay.
Fish and mild. We'll get him next time.
It's been a bit. Yep. It's been long enough that I'd forgotten you need at least one station active at all times. That's my bad.
What would you say is the best SMG in the game? I usually use the barrage flechette. I find that to be really good.
Yeah, I enjoy that one. I think it's all just kind of like personal preference. I liked. Let me look at my CQWs and try and I'm also more of a shotgun person.
I know the PPZ was a popular one.
Yeah, X43 might have been the one that I first maxed. I really liked that one. The Storm Surge was okay, I thought.
Back.
Let me refresh myself here. Yeah, I like this one. I probably go to the flechette though. Is like if I have to pick an SMG, that's the one I normally go to.
Yeah, that's what I've been using.
I
All
don't
right.
remember which one I use.
Maybe this time we'll do a booster card. Help us out.
The Vol. The Vol's the one I always default to.
Okay.
Maybe superior firepower. That one's pretty good.
There are engineer
Yeah.
objects that protect the ruins from quakes, but Xenos attack when they turn on. Keep them running, or the ruins, everything collapses.
One of my earliest memories working on this game was like getting to play the playtest the first time, like getting just to see the, early levels and everything in flight, and like how hard it was to be quiet about this game. I was so excited as a fan. I was like, how have we not had more of like media pushes about what we're working on, like behind the scenes and stuff? I mean, obviously wasn't going to. I'm professional enough to know when to.
Yeah, I'm sure
Not say
that's.
anything, but
I'm sure it's always tricky with exciting, feelings about working on a big title. Like, I saw that a lot with Grand Theft Auto 6. Just how many devs came out on Twitter and posted like, "Oh man, now that we officially have a trailer, even though there were all these leaks, like we're glad to finally be able to say that we're working on this."
Yeah.
It's kind of like I understand why, but it's always a little disappointing at the how long you have to wait for the media pushes these days. You know, so you
Yeah.
don't get lost in the you know, there's a lot. So there's a lot going off on the internet, and so you don't get lost in all the releases and everything like that. I understand why they wait so close for release these days, but
Yeah.
I do miss like the random little tease articles in the old game newspapers and not newspapers, game magazines and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I mean, just from a practical point of view, you start talking about things that may or may not come to be when you
Yeah.
further in development and figure out like, oh man, turned out this thing that we promised we can't actually deliver on for one reason or another, and that's frustrating to fans. It kind of erodes trust when you talk about like, there's this thing and people are hyped about it, and then turns out to not be any of that in the game. Like,
Yeah,
that
I guess
sucks.
Colonial Marines is kind of a warning on that front.
Yeah.
But then there's also I think people need to have an understanding of how
Sorry.
work in progress is
Yeah.
change and develop and what have you.
For sure.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it never feels good as a dev when like in progress stuff gets leaked, because there were a lot of high profile leaks last year, like with the Wolverine game and Grand Theft Auto 6.
My tracker's clear for now.
Yeah. And then, people, I think, don't always understand game development too. They might see leaks of something that's in progress and they're like, this looks like shit, And it's like, well, yeah, it does, because this is like maybe in an alpha state. It's people get opinions around things and they don't have context for like where the development pipeline is and some of the things around that. Like, yeah, can really poison the water on that too, as well as just, as I said, like, I want to be the one to talk about the cool things we're working on, not some person that did they got a data leak or they data mined these things. Like, it's frustrating.
Okay.
I remember we saw some data mine things on this game though that got us hyped, like some of the weapons that were coming and things like that.
Yeah, we learned our lesson there. We started finding better ways to hide the in-flight assets. They're like, oh wait, people can see this stuff. We got to start increasing that. But mostly only because like it's great that people get excited about stuff. But again, if you see assets in there that were things that we've like prototyped and then eventually, for one reason or another, had to move away from, you're like, you did this thing. Why isn't this thing in the game?
Yeah, there was definitely something fans were saying with Predator Hunting Grounds a bit, because there were some data mine things with that game that never really came to pass. I can't think of anything with this game that we saw sneaks of that didn't eventually happen. But yeah, with Predator Hunting Grounds, it was definitely a thing. A lot of fans wanted more with that game.
We tried to be really good about cleaning up or like not leaving unnecessary things in the project too, just because, again, back to like working on older gen consoles and needing to, like, memory footprints and stuff, like, try to keep it as lean as possible.
Alpha. Crusher on 8.
Wave approaching Site Bravo.
I gotta head for B.
Okay. I'll repair Alpha, yeah. Okay, you got it. Thanks, Bravo.
I do love the sound effects for like the engineer technology here as well. The squishy buttons.
The bloop, bloop.
Movement towards Site Alpha.
Okay. Oh, that's where I am. No.
head your way.
Orient.
Take a seat, big boy.
Right. Oh,
It's fine.
Prowler.
Oh, too late on the... I wish I could have canceled that. Oh, well. What are you doing there, runner? Oh, having a bad time because of the electroshock. So I was like, why are you just camping the ground there? I'm going to pick up ammo.
I think Aaron and I both thought the runners were an interesting choice for like the fodder aliens of this game because that had never really been done before. They were always kind of an occasional type that would show up in previous games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think part of that was wanting again to like kind of break up the like silhouette so everything wasn't like a bipedal you know.
Yeah.
So, here comes another humanoid-esque thing running at you.
Okay. Am I starting?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yep.
Just gonna pick up some supplies on my way through the middle.
Alright, we can do this. We can make it.
Go ahead and proceed.
Yep, I'm behind you.
Just gonna activate. Oh, we got a drone active. We got action at Alpha 2. Oh, Beta's got a surge. Okay.
We're running.
Let's pop up Alright, let's go. Oop. Where are you? There you are. Oh, okay. Deleted.
With my plasma lance. Says no.
Alright, headed over to Charlie.
You okay at Alpha, Adam?
Yep, it's repaired and doesn't seem to be surging right now, so I'm heading to C.
Yeah, alright.
I am gonna pop this
Oh,
out.
looks like they're coming to B.
Alright. I think also having the runner as, you know, like our fodder opens up you know, the space to have like the multi-traversal spaces like the walls and the ceiling and that more readily. Like, wouldn't really make sense to have the drone crawling on the ceiling like I guess maybe as many times. I don't know. I guess an argument could be made for digging in with their claws, but
Well, I know with Colonial Marines they did walk on four legs a lot, but some people thought they looked like they were galloping. Like the animations were a bit wonky.
Yeah.
But like Aaron said, I did like how this game handled the warriors where they were bigger and more tanky.
Yeah, big beefy boys. Oh boy. Where are you going?
Oh.
It's just like
Nowhere.
he really wanted to go pick B apart, I think.
Nope. Prowler on me.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna head back to B since that one.
Okay,
Nope.
A's repaired.
Actually, Charlie, it looks like, is taking heavier hits. Oh,
There is a surge at A, so I will stay here if you guys want to go to C.
yep.
Praetorian at... I'll get rid of this with you.
Okay, it's down.
Okay, I'm going.
I think I'm good at Charlie. I'm gonna probably head to beta after this.
Okay, swinging up to beta.
There's still some attacking A, so I will stay here.
Always got to get B up. Like, just has to be online. We got seconds.
No, get me over. No.
Whew.
Setting us on the deck.
Nice.
Counter up and mark the LZ.
All right. Well, we were close.
Oh.
I got you.
I mean, that's still considered a win, right?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Just
It's
gotta get
not-
the best stuff with them all
Oh,
being
okay.
up.
Do you get like a higher score if they're all online?
That was my memory of it. That could be dev memory being wrong, but
Sissy Bubble says it's just good character creature design. You want players to be able to quickly tell different monster types apart, especially if they're running at you in hordes. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, we did it.
Powering down. I think we're good.
Ended on a
Yeah.
victory.
Yeah. Get the W.
Well, I think we will let you go off to your fishing expedition, but thank you again so much for joining us, Corey. It was great to have you on, and again, like, thank you for your hard work on this game. Like, we have gotten many hours of fun with each other and friends on this, so.
I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you again for having me and for all the support and enthusiasm, and also for the making sure to keep us honest and poking at us when you saw things that you wanted improved, and sorry we weren't able to maybe action everything, but I think we did a pretty good job trying to listen to the community and do that, and I'm immensely proud of the work that our team did, and just as developers and fans and everything, I think it showed. So
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the chat now, you're getting some love from fans on there too for
I
the
appreciate
game.
that.
So,
Thanks, everybody.
Is there anything you'd like to shout out, like a place where people can follow you, or do you not really do that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if people care to, I'm just at Corey G. LeFever on Twitter. I'm not really super active on social media these days. If you follow me over there, you might see the occasional like fishing update or random beer thing, or perhaps some stuff that I'm working on. I'm currently working as like a combat designer on a pretty cool like action RPG title. We're still kind of figuring out what the buzz around that's going to be like, so I can't really say too much to that, but yeah, game dev stuff, beer stuff, nature stuff. Feel free to follow me there if you like.
Alrighty.
Oh, cool. We should hopefully have our next podcast episode up in the next couple of days. I'm just trying to finish it.
Nice.
And I don't think there's anything else to really promote from our side at the minute, is there, Adam? We'll announce.
Not
a
really.
new-
We'll be planning some more live plays here soon. We may be actually doing more Fireteam Elite ones with some other devs. We're looking at that, so
Nice.
keep an eye out for that. But other than that, you can always find us on our main hub of activity, avpgalaxy.net. And we're on all the major socials, Facebook, X, Threads, and Instagram. So be sure to check us out there as well. And I think we'll be heading off here. But again, thank you all for watching, and hope you have a good rest of your Sunday.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
everybody.
Bye.